Hello everybody, I'm Karryshh and today we're talking about a Thai horror movie called Thongsook 13. The story is about a group of friends who go for a weekend trip to a place everyone should avoid. It isn't complex, but the ending scene did surprise me a bit, and I think you guys will better off watching the recap unless you're into Thai horror a lot. Then you may watch it one time. Now if you're new, subscribe, like and share. Follow me on Instagram. Everything is free for you and it helps me out tremendously. Now grab your snacks and watch Thongsook 13 recap. So this story begins with a girl named Nam who wakes up in the school's nursing room. She was unconscious. It also happens to be her birthday, but apparently her mother never celebrates it, which is something you should remember for later. Now at the same place, she meets Tong, who was in the nursing home as well, and now he becomes her friend. Eventually, Tong finds out that Nam has a thing for horror stuff, and he asks her if she would like to see ghosts. Nam gets excited, but here's the twist. Tong can actually see spirits, but there's an amulet around his neck which keeps him safe from negative energies. To show Nam the ghost, he removes the amulet and tells her that if anything happens to me, put this back on me. But right then, an evil spirit attacks Tong. He starts having a seizure and accidentally bashed his head hard against an iron rod, which terrifies Nam. Nam tries to gather her courage to put the amulet back on him, but she couldn't. Tong has turned demonic, so she throws away the amulet and runs off. Later, Tong's mother comes and puts the amulet back on him. He returns to normal and Nam watches all this happen from a distance, and she realizes that their friendship might be over before it even started. But the next day, Tong surprises her by giving a birthday present. However, due to his head injury, he's now a little mentally unstable. Still, their friendship continues, and as they grow up, they become best friends. Tong eventually falls in love with Nam as well. At school, cause of Nam, Tong also have some more friends, but those friends doesn't really like him. They were with him because of Nam. Now there was this guy named Boy who keeps on flirting with Nam, and after class, Boy, a guy named Jack, a girl named Beam, and another girl named Pui all go into science lab. They were planning a trip without Tong, which Nam doesn't like, but she couldn't refuse cause of peer pressure. They plan to visit an island, but Boy throws away the map and Tong happens to find it. The next day, everyone except Tong leaves for the island. The boatman warns him that the island has a dark history. Long ago, on a Friday the 13th, a ritual called Devouring Spirit Ceremony was performed, which went horribly wrong. Everyone who participated in that ritual died horribly. We also get a glimpse of that ceremony where people were chanting in a cave. There were also animal sacrifices and there was blood everywhere. Basically, a lot of demonic forces rose on that day, but before the story could finish, the group arrives on the island. The boatman says that he will return the next morning to pick him up. Now you see, Boy was hosting everyone on this island. He reveals that his family recently inherited a mansion on the island because the previous owner couldn't repay a loan to Boy's family. The mansion was huge, perfect for a vacation, but once they arrive, Boy again starts to flirt with Nam. He even mocks Tong by imitating him, cause you see, nobody can understand how a girl like Nam could be friends with Tong. Then suddenly they hear a noise from the closet, but when they check, it was empty. However, suddenly, Tong appears and he scares Nam. Now obviously everyone was frustrated after seeing him except Nam. She was actually relieved that he was there. Now the six of them start having fun, though they constantly tease Tong in ways that doesn't bother Nam, but they also get away by bullying Tong in different ways. Later, Boy tells the full story of this island. You see, during that spirit ceremony, someone accidentally dropped a holy candle, which angered the demons, and chaos followed. Everyone was slaughtered by those evil spirits. The next day, Nam takes 2 pills from someone's bag. She thought they were painkillers, but they actually turns out to be strong sedatives. Pui tells her the reality of those pills, which means she's now gonna be asleep for a whole day. Soon Nam falls asleep and Boy, Jack and Beam take Tong to the ritual site. The place gives Tong a bad feeling. It was eerie, filled with evil energy, but still the others go inside. Boy ties a blindfold around Tong's eyes and locks him inside a cave, which was the place where demons came from. Not only this, but seeing the ritual site makes Beam feel uneasy as well, but the group continues mocking Tong. Suddenly Boy finds Tong's amulet, which had fell from around his neck, and then out of nowhere the cave door slams shut and an evil entity grabs Tong. His voice turns evil and the group panics. They try to break the lock, but it was invincible. The three then think that they have to return to home and find some tools to help Tong. However, no one wanted to stay with Tong in that creepy place, and that's why all three left him there alone. Now back at the house, the three find Pui as she was extremely drunk. Pui started kissing Beam and then outside a storm breaks out, which means now they're stuck there until morning and they cannot help Tong. Everyone stays back, they drink and party late into the night until they all pass out. The next morning, Nam wakes up after having a terrible dream about Tong. Nam looks around the house and the house was a mess. She notices that Tong is nowhere to be found and worried she searches the entire place and eventually finds his amulet, which completely shocks her. She immediately wakes Boy and the others, and when she finds out what happened, they all rush to the cave to break the lock, but Tong was not inside the cave anymore. Nam gets furious at everyone, and when they check Jack's camera, they see that something evil had emerged from the cave last night. The group then starts searching the entire island to find Tong, but there was no trace of him. The boatman finally arrives to pick him up, and you see everyone except Nam decides to go back home. They all assume that Tong already left for home, but Nam refuses to leave without him, so others were forced to stay as well. The boatman warns them that tonight is the same night the ritual once took place. After midnight, it will be Friday the 13th, which means the evil spirits are gonna be stronger. Not long after the boatman leaves, Jack catches a glimpse of Tong for a moment before he disappears again. Everyone then heads back to the ritual site to look for him, but as they approach that cave, the door slams shut on its own. Boy was frustrated. He tries to open the door again, but there was no one inside. Then suddenly, Pui sees something evil on the wall. Some evil entities scared the shit out of Pui. The cave also started trembling, and that's why they all make it back to the house. But when they opened the door, Tong was standing just right there and he was perfectly fine. Everyone was relieved, but something was clearly off about him. There was darkness in his eyes. Now when the group questions Tong about what happened, he started acting strange, and his acting makes Pui gets a terrible headache. Then at midnight, the date officially turns to Friday the 13th, and that's why Tong becomes even more possessed. Jack sees an evil figure outside the house, and now inside the house, everyone was feeling terrified. However, somehow they spend the night, and the next morning, Pui wakes up and notices that no one was around. She thinks that everyone already left for home. That's why she packs her things and runs towards the shore. But as she was running, suddenly everything gets dark, and she runs into Beam, whose face unexpectedly twists unnaturally before she disappears. Panicking, Pui screams and runs back to the house. She bangs on the door, but no one opens it. Pui goes to the window and she screams for help, but then suddenly, another version of Pui appears on the other side of the window, and Pui was possessed. Now here it's something confusing. You see, the Pui inside the house is actually the body of Pui, and the body of Pui is possessed by some evil force. And outside the house, Pui, who is experiencing supernatural events, she is actually the soul of Pui. Basically, Pui's soul is out of her own body, and her body is possessed by something evil. Now Pui starts banging on the window, and that banging was heard by Nam, who was inside the house. But when she looks around, she couldn't see Pui's soul. Then Pui's soul write help on the glass. Nam reads that and she freezes in fear, obviously. And just then, Boy enters the room. But before they can say anything, they hear Beam screaming from another room. They all rush to help her, but when they get there and they see what Beam was seeing, everyone was horrified. Actually, you see, Pui was now completely possessed and she was hanging in a weird way, swaying her body in a twisted dance like a demon. Pui goes completely insane and she terrifies everyone. Then out of nowhere, she runs and jumps straight out of the window. Beam and the others rush outside to find her body, but there they see that her jaw is completely shattered and she was dead. Some evil force even drags Pui towards darkness, and that's when Tong shows up. Tong says that everyone needs to follow him outside the house, but Nam stops everyone because she realized that this was not real Tong. As Tong steps outside the house, he turns evil and vanishes into thin air. Right after that, all the windows and glass shatter at once. Everyone falls to the ground as dozens of evil spirits appear in front of everyone. One evil spirit attacks Nam, but Boy saves her in time. Now Nam, Boy and Jack run out of the house, but Beam goes missing. Suddenly, the three run into a strange old man. The man asks him if anyone else is still inside the house, but before they can answer, they hear Beam screaming upstairs. Now here with a quick flashback, it is revealed that this old man was the reason the ritual went wrong years ago. He was the person who dropped that holy candle, and he's the only person who is still alive on this island. The man then lights an incense stick and tells everyone to stay close to it. They all go then upstairs to save Beam, and a few seconds later, Beam returns to her friends and the man starts fighting the evil spirits alone in the house. The demons throw him around and everyone rush in to help him, but the man has realized one thing: the demons in this house are now really strong. And he says that they need to leave this island immediately. But as soon as they step outside, a storm hits. There was thunder, lightning and chaos, which forces him back into the house. The old man then says that demons have never been this aggressive before, and now Jack confesses that they locked Tong inside the cave, and that's why all of this is happening. The old man realizes that they need to survive in this evil house now, and that's why he sits down and he starts chanting. He makes Boy draw a protective circle of thread around all of him so no spirit can enter. The old man then pulls out a candle and says that this candle can drive the demons away, but only a woman can use this. That's why Nam takes the candle, lights it, and heads out from the protective circle into the darkness. The man warns her that as long as the candle burns, the demon won't be able to harm her. She then starts walking through the dark house, but paranormal activities soon start around her. Meanwhile, the man figures out that they need to escape this island before midnight, cause at midnight, the gates of hell will open and everyone on the island will die. However, now they only have 45 minutes left till midnight. Back to Nam, who eventually comes face to face with the evil entity, but before she can react, the spirit attacks her. The spirit pins her down, but at the last moment, Nam burns the spirit with the candle, force it to vanish. She then keeps on moving forward, but suddenly, her mother appears in front of her, which was clearly a demon in disguise. It tries to convince her that their entire trip was just a dream, and she never went to the island. At the same time, another dark spirit tries to break through the circle where the others were protected. Now back to Nam, who starts believing that she is still a little girl. Then her mother appears again with a birthday cake, but as Nam was about to blow out the candle, she remembers her mother never celebrated her birthday. That's how she realized that this is all a trick. Then Nam grabs the candle from the cake and stabs the demon with it. For a brief moment, she sees Thong's face inside the demon, which means Thong is under control of those evil forces. Now, after a while, Nam manages to drive all the demons out of the house, but there was one more spirit, according to the old man. Then old man did some ritual and he realized that the remaining ghost is one of him, either Beam, Boy, or Jack. One of them is dead. The old man then gives each of them a weapon and he tells them that they need to find out who the ghost is and they must unalive it. Now you see, if one of them is dead, there must be a dead body, and that's why Nam goes to search for that dead body. The tension rises as the three friends start turning on each other and they were ready to attack one another. Soon, Nam finds the body. It was Jack. She says his name out loud and Boy suddenly lunges to unalive Jack, but Jack stabs Boy instead. Jack shouts that he's not the ghost, and then the old man tells Nam to burn the body immediately. Now as soon as Nam sets the body on fire, the truth is revealed. The body was actually of Beam, who was dead all along. It was not Jack. Now inside the protective circle, Beam suddenly turns completely evil. She slashes the old man's throat before disappearing into darkness. Both guys try to help the injured old man, but he dies eventually. However, before dying, the old man says they must find Tongsuk and take him off the island. Nam also returns inside the protective circle, but then suddenly, everything around him turns to dust. Boy, Jack, and Nam somehow find themselves at the ritual site. The three still stay inside the protective threat circle, but outside it, a evil Tongsuk appears and he says everyone tonight will die, except one person. The person who will cut this protective thread will be allowed to leave this island. Now hearing this, Jack's greed take over. Despite his friends begging him not to, he breaks the thread and runs away to save himself. After Jack leaves, the demon laughs and says that they're idiots, and then Tongsuk disappears, meaning he was not even there. Now we follow Jack, who finally made it to the boat, but the boat won't start. Suddenly, Beam's ghost appears and she starts laughing hysterically. Jack ignores her and keeps on trying to start the boat, and when the boat finally starts, he strikes Beam's ghost with a crowbar until she disappears. But as Jack was trying to escape, he slips and falls into the water. Then, a sharp wooden piece pierces through his stomach and the boat engine slices his body to two. He basically dies a horrible death. The scene then cuts back to Nam and Boy. Boy was badly hurt, but Nam refuses to leave him behind, and just then, the real Tongsuk crawls out from inside the cave. Both Nam and Boy were shocked, but it was already midnight, and the demon from hell appears right in front of him. The demon goes inside Tongsuk, and he transforms into this evil entity. Boy pushes Nam away, telling her to run, but the demon unalive Boy in just one hit. Nam now runs through the dark jungle, terrified, when suddenly Jack's ghost grabs her. Nam then uses holy candles, stabs Jack's ghost, and then runs away again. And in the end, she ends up finding the lost amulet of Thongsook. Actually, you see, she lost this amulet in the movie earlier. Anyway, now she finds it, but then Thongsook shows up. Thongsook tries to fight the demon inside his own body, and he yells at Nam to run, but she refuses to leave him alone. Then Thongsook starts losing control of his body, but then Nam puts the amulet around his neck. Cause of that, all the demons get pulled out of Thongsook's body one by one. However, this whole process unalived Thongsook. He was gonna disappear, but before he could, Thongsook says I love you to Nam, and then he was gone. Only his amulet remains. Then, in the dark night, all the evil energies surround Nam. To protect herself, Nam holds onto that amulet, which makes a bright light appear from inside Nam. The light bursts into an explosion, wiping out every spirit. Then, Nam wakes up in a hospital next to her mother. She was back to her normal life. She hugs her mother tightly and she was finally relieved. A few days later, Nam writes letter to her dead friends. It was her birthday, and for the first time, her mother brings her a cake. Now, if you like happy endings, you should stop this video right here, cause the movie is not over. Nam blows out the candle, and everything suddenly reverses. She finds herself back in the same room where the demon had taken her mother's form. It turns out everything that happened after that point was just inside Nam's head, and she had finally blew out the holy candle. That's why all the demons returned and unalive her badly. The movie ends right there with this dark, chilling twist. And so, this was the recap video on Thongsook 13, and I give this movie only 4 out of 10. The movie was not scary, there were a few jump scare and the plotline was really simple. The only scene that surprised me was the ending. Anyway, you tell me your rating and your favorite scene in the comment box. If you have liked this video, I want you to give this a thumbs up, share it with your friends and subscribe. Everything is free for you and it helps me out tremendously. You can join my Telegram channel to stay updated about every single thing, but you must connect with me on Instagram, which is the only place I reply to every single one of you. I thank you all to watch this video. Stay safe, stay happy, spread kindness into this world, and now I see you all in the next one. Till then, stay awake, because they always see you.